Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be installing the intake, but first we got to get it painted. So this is what it looks like after we sandblasted it. Came out pretty good. This is my my water neck. It looked pretty bad before, so we'll just tape off from this little knob up to make sure we don't get paint on that, and then we'll go ahead and paint this intake. And I was thinking about going with the Ford gray like I did on my motor, but I think, well, I know I changed my mind. We're gonna go with this VHT Wrinkle Plus, and that way it'll kind of match my my valve covers that I got. So I got these Ford Racing valve covers, and they're kind of a low wrinkle, but a black wrinkle. And then also my Holley Sniper is black, so basically the whole top of the motor will be black, the bottom will be gray. I think it'll be a nice contrast. And then what I'm also gonna do is after I paint it, I'm gonna sand off this Edelbrock, so you'll see Edelbrock written out, and it'll be gray. And then same with the Victor Jr. 302 there, so it'll be sanded. But everything else will be wrinkle black, and I think it's gonna look really good. So let's get to taping this thing off and get it ready for paint. Alright, we got it all taped up. Now we're gonna get ready to spray it. So here we go. Got them set up. Let's get to it. Alright, there's one coat. 5 minutes, we'll spray next coat. Alright guys, all done painting. This is what it came out like. We're losing sunlight here, so I don't know how good this is going to come across on camera. And it is black, so. Still wet. We got to let it cure. And then the can says to throw it in the oven for an hour at 200 degrees. I may just hit it with a heat gun. We're gonna see what works. I'll try the heat gun on my water neck. That way if it doesn't come out good, I can just sand that down and respray it and then throw it in the oven. And whatever works on that, we'll do the same thing to the intake, and then we'll get ready to bolt it on. All right, let's see what this heat gun is gonna do to this wrinkle paint. All right, doesn't seem to be doing too much. So we're gonna let that dry overnight, and then we'll get back at this tomorrow. So here, let me show you one more time what this looks like with some light. So far, looking pretty good. All right, we'll check back in the morning. What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be getting into the rocker arms, push rods, getting the top of the motor assembled back together. So I got, right now it's just heads installed, so we got to get the rocker arms and push rods installed. And then after that we can get the intake installed, which I have right here, which is drying. Well, it's already dry. I did have to make an adjustment. I cut off a little a nipple that was right here. That was for providing coolant to the throttle body, but since I'm not running the stock intake anymore, I don't need that anymore, so I cut it off, threw a little tack weld on it. I did that at the auto hobby shop, so I wasn't able to film. So I got some paint sprayed back on it, so we're waiting for that to dry, and then we'll be good to install this thing onto the motor. Once we get that on, and the rocker arms and the valve covers back installed, we'll be ready to take this thing out of here and put it back in the car and then get everything bolted back up. So let's get started on the rocker arms. We're gonna get those cleaned up today. All right, so what I got out here is I got my rocker arms, push rods. We're gonna get those all cleaned up. We're just gonna use a little bit of Dawn dish detergent and water. Seems to work the best for getting all the oil and stuff out. Get them cleaned up, wiped down, and then ready to put back onto the motor. All right, so I got all the push rods in the motor. We got everything cleaned up. So now we're gonna get the rocker arms installed. And they're just pedestal mount rocker arms. So we'll torque them down to 20 foot-pounds is what it calls for. I'll slap a little assembly lube on there. And that'll be it, so let's get to it. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and install this intake onto the engine. So I got the gasket surfaces cleaned up. We're gonna place these intake gaskets on here and go from there. Let's get it. All right, so now we just gotta wait an hour. We got the little bit of squish out on the gasket on the China rails. So now just wait an hour and then we'll torque it to spec. And it's gonna be 24 foot-pounds. All right, so that's gonna do it for now for the top of the motor. Here we go. That's what it looks like for now. So next up, we're gonna be taking this thing off the engine stand, bolting up the clutch and pressure plate, which is right down there, and flywheel. We'll bolt that up to the back of the motor, and then drop it in the car, and then it's just putting it all back together. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.